Welcome to The Leads Are Shit. This is a real estate magazine podcast where I'm here with the owner of a real estate magazine, Andrew Fogliato. My name is Taylor. I'm a team leader from Edmonton, and we are doing the first live episode of our show from Halifax. So we're here for the real estate conference. We're actually in Remax Nova, and this is the office of Naz Claimer.
Yeah. So he graciously offered it because his office is not far from the convention center. And we were looking for a place, and because we all had to check out of our rooms, we couldn't use our rooms. So yeah, Naz stepped up. We're actually his office, his desk was right there. We're just office, by the way. Like, if you ever want an example of someone who's turned like an old house into an office, this is a pretty nice one here.
And this was kind of a neat event also because on one hand, this was great for you. You, for the first time in how long, released a print version of Real Estate Magazine?
So it's my first time ever releasing a print magazine. And then like REM did a limited run in 2021 before I owned it. And then I don't think it went well. Like, it was very limited, not a lot of papers. People still weren't going back to their office yet. And then so really it was pre-COVID was basically the last, but there was always newspapers. This is like a proper magazine. Oh, and then we got a question here. Who won the listing competition?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the other thing that was kind of a big part of this event was a pitch competition. Now, it kind of ended up being interesting overall because the last time that we updated you, it was last Thursday. And at that time, we knew that Andrew was going to be a judge.
Yeah.
But we had something kind of interesting happen because, sometimes you enter these things and you just don't hear back. And we were joking about what would happen if this was the case. But then we did an entire episode on strategy related to that. And suddenly we happened to be out at one of the great Atlantic Coast pubs. And I lock eyes with Tamara Stone from Kelowna. And she says, "You and me, one-on-one tomorrow." And that's when I immediately ran and found Andrew in like a different part of the pub. And I was like, "Listen, man, I think that something went to my spam. I'm a little confused." But there it was. I made selection.
Yeah.
And so we knew that this was going to happen. And that made it like interesting.
Yeah, it was. So you were ended up being a contestant.
Yeah.
It was eight
one
people.
Of nine. Yeah.
9.
And then the MC jumped in and he was pretty good. He's fun.
If you're fun, look him up to be your MC. He's phenomenal. One of the better event MCs I've seen.
And really, like, from your perspective as a judge, when you saw the variety of the 9, would you say that there was like, I don't know, how would you kind of categorize the group?
It was a huge mix. Like, you had, like, if you were to grade them from like lowest score to top score possible, you had the full gamut. Like, there was some who, like, we couldn't have actually given, I won't name anyone, but like we couldn't have given a lower score. And then there's some that got like 2 people got perfect from some judges.
And we're going to assume that everybody is better at the kitchen table than they are on a stage because they don't get a lot of practice on a stage.
Well, this is where you got to give people grace too, right? It's like, so like the first guy who went up had no knowledge of really what to do, had 3 minutes, and like just learned 30 seconds before he went up what he's even doing.
And that's actually how they did it. They brought this guy up on stage, and then they revealed the house we were talking about.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting because, one, they made it fun. It was Connor McDavid's house.
Yeah.
And then they had big pictures of it on the screen, and they mentioned very little about where it was. They didn't give us any comparable information.
They did. They showed 2 on the screen, but it was quick.
Yeah, it was quick, but like it didn't really.
It was.
It would not have been like, imagine that just kind of flashing up while you're about minutes away from going on stage yourself, or you're actually standing on stage, suddenly finding out that it's Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
So I had extra time because I was in second place, so I'm like mad Googling. And I found out that, Connor's wife is due to deliver their first girl, and that's in a couple of months. We found out that she did some of the designing on the house.
Yeah.
But this also played to my advantage a little bit because I'm from Edmonton, and one of the agents in my office actually helped the McDavids find their house.
Yeah.
So it was interesting from that perspective. So I really feel bad for that person.
Yeah, he got the short end of the stick on that one. And like the only way you could have actually made that fair was that every contestant would have had to like earmuff and look away from the screen, like put on big noise canceling. Like that was the only way you could have made that fair. Because like the girl who went last did a really good job, but like you could tell she had just listened to like the judges' feedback and the other people who did well, and then like just made a 3 minute pitch around kind of the feedback and stuff she was hearing of what the judges wanted to hear more of. And that happened the later it went.
Yeah, and like hearing how you see that, then you would have actually graded against the curve as these people basically were expected to do more if they
Yeah.
were further up the chain.
Yeah, like that. This is what I think. Like, if I were to do that competition again, like if I'm Remax, I would probably do a pre-call with
Let
all the people.
let's unpack that in a second. Let's tell them
Yeah,
how it was, and then we'll
yeah,
talk about like how we would change that.
yeah,
So this guy goes up,
yeah,
and basically it's 3 minutes, and really they're trying to cut to the why should you be the agent,
yeah,
but they also gave it a twist. So since it was a celebrity's house, they said that the family specifically wanted discretion
yeah.
when it came to the people that would get access to the property and so on, which is not that is not a regular order when it
Yeah.
comes to real estate agents.
And that like the people who made the finals, which we'll get to, it's like that gave some of them like an advantage of have they've worked with people like that before. So they kind of already knew what those objections and how to word it. And like not that many people in the industry have actually worked with celebrities.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a tough ask for someone to come in. Like I think it probably would have been a little bit easier for people to do a better job if they just picked like a move up home and it was just like a family.
Mm.
Right? Like you'd almost like go, who would be like Remax's most common client and do that? Because I think that would also have more application for people in the audience too.
And what the audience also wants is a glimpse into like what contributes to you winning listings.
Yeah.
And so to get a variety of people up there that can do this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an interesting mix all around. We definitely saw some agents that were like much further along in their career than
Yeah.
some others. We saw some people that had maybe given this more thought than others.
Yeah, definitely someone you could tell like pretty much had it planned out how they were going to do it. And then others came up and even if they weren't the first person, they still didn't put that much like, and because they had 3 minutes. And the one that surprised me with the 3 minutes is the amount of people who left 30 to 90 seconds on the clock when they finished.
Yep.
Because 3 minutes is already tight to get a pitch in. And a lot of people left time. Like you went a few seconds over and got buzzed out.
Mm-hmm.
Tamara did a few seconds over and got buzzed out.
Yeah, I got some notes for that for when we talk about what we'd like to change.
Yeah. And that's where I found it was a little bit interesting of like if I only had 3 minutes to do a pitch, which I guess is nerves and not enough planning on their end, you got to use your whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you should like post well. For me, I felt like that's where I could have improved. Where I chose to position myself on stage was really close to where the judges were because that's who you were supposed to be pitching. So I wanted that part to feel like somewhat intimate. But I think that maybe that's why they changed it because they didn't like people just standing over there. But where I was standing, I couldn't quite catch the timer out of my periphery.
Okay.
And if I would have just been one step back, I would have had that, and then I could have posted where I landed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so like
I was on my way to the landing.
Yeah. So the way that they did the actual event is it was like 8 speakers, 9 went up, and they had 3 minutes, and then the top 3 advanced to the final round. And so they do 3 minutes, then 1 minute of judges' feedback, and then they go to the final. Top 3 make the final round. They get 5 minutes, and then it's audience. So then the audience picks who won. So
then after that first round, even after each pitch, there's the judges that all get to comment.
Yeah. So like
for example, that first one, that was when it cued the rest of the competitors that discretion was important because that was missed in the first one.
Yeah, like the first thing they said that mattered to the McDavids was the discrete nature of the sale that they wanted. The first guy just did not address that at all. And so like my comment as a judge was like, that was his number one thing. You didn't talk about it. So then everyone who came up after that, which again, it made it so much easier. They had to like, they knew what they had. It's like going, especially in the back 4 is such an advantage there.
Yeah. Last kick at the can could probably do well. But when you took a look at like, and also like the feedback was where the judges scored people. So they would say like who gave them votes and who didn't, but they also gave you personas.
Yeah, that was like something I found out that morning. So they were like, we're gonna do it like American Idol, and like one of you's gonna be the Randy, one's the Paula, one's the Simon,
And you were
and
the.
they told me to be the Simon.
So does that mean that when it was my turn and it came to you judging me, I got Simoned?
Yes.
Yes.
Does that make sense now?
Yes. Uh, so this was like, so just like we had talked about with you guys
Yeah.
previously, but what they didn't know in the audience was basically that this was, since it was for a real prize, like it
Yeah.
was for, there was a value to the prize.
Yeah.
We had already decided that we couldn't do that. So
Yeah.
Andrew took that moment to basically shortly explain that and then to trash me.
Yeah. It worked.
As you should.
And a very not so subtle plug for this show.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing that I found most surprising.
Yeah.
Is because even though we went through that part of it, 9 contestants, we get to our part and we say, hey, Taylor's ineligible. And they acknowledge that and agree. It wasn't like it wasn't heard. And then they choose 3 finalists, and I'm among the 3 finalists.
Yeah, so you got one of the perfect scores from round one.
Oh.
So the way that like we did it, and like we just agreed as we were sitting there, right before the first person went up, we're gonna grade each of them out of 3. For there's 4 categories. So there was like persuasion, clarity, stage presence, and creativity. And we decided we're gonna rate each of those 1 out of 3. And then basically the final thing was just who had the highest numbers. And so like there was 2 people that had a perfect 12. And then there was a couple, because we had 3 of us, who kind of had another 3 in that 11 to 10 range. So then it became like a quick discussion among us. But because they both gave you the perfect score, I did, but it didn't count. It pushed you into that final round. But I was like very clear. I'm like, I can't influence the decision with him. But then, yeah, you went through the final round. And the reason they were okay with it was because the audience decided the winner. Right. So it's not that I could influence the winner.
And the audience was upset when we first went through this. There was like a lot of like back from the like coming out of the first round when we talked about it.
I don't think that was
There
about
was some
you.
hollers. It was a good time.
But I don't think that was about you. So the person we ended up, one of the people we picked, there was people that like, especially behind me, because there's actually, I think her brokerage was right behind the judges first row, and they thought their agents should have made it through. So like a lot of that noise was about she should have made it through instead of one of the others.
And it could have been instead of me because I technically blocked a spot for the 2.
But we'll go to the final round for a second, then back up. It's like Taylor ended up not winning. So, but like I heard a lot of people saying like they thought you should. Yeah, but like this is the problem was at the end. The final like they all did great. Like I think all 3 did a really good job, and it became more of like personal style and where you value different things.
Yep.
Because like one of the people that went up that everyone thought should have made the finals, it was like over something. It was like it wasn't as much substance. Like it was a very polished like commercial, but it wasn't like you're meeting a seller and convincing them. Yep. Right? Like that was the difference.
Totally.
And the person that made it through like really did that well. It's like connecting at that level.
And that's the thing. I think that what you want from the audience side is to actually see what top agents do, because who really shares that? Like who shares their like listing approach and how they price properties and what they actually do? And most of the time from the outside, it just looks like magic.
Yeah.
Like they're really friendly and they shake hands and man, was that fast? And it's just like done.
Exactly. And like that's where this went. I think it went really well. Like I think the 3, so it ended up being you, Tamara Stone, and Alex Irish who made the final 3.
Yep.
And they ended up doing the audience vote for who's louder. And then it ended up being, they declared it a tie, or they co-listed Tamara and Alex Irish. Yeah. So they both got the prize. They both get a prize. They just doubled it.
Yep.
And they'll get a chance at the global event to like do the pitch again.
Yeah, it's gonna happen at R4. I think that's coming in February or March.
Yeah. So like I thought that again, they both did a great job. Then they asked the judges who we thought won. And I basically said anyone but Taylor.
That was actually funny.
Yeah, that worked out well. And then you lost, so I'll take the blame on that one. He immediately got voted out after I said that. And then they gave it to you, the other two, which they did a great job, different styles slightly on them. There's actually, but this would be an interesting one we should do as a future episode. So I met one of the women who was pitching in the first round who didn't make it, and we ran into each other at the pub last night.
Hmm.
And so she actually, I was surprised, like basically ended up like sitting, like talking to me for like 15 minutes, just looking for feedback and critique. And so it could be interesting. Let's bring her on and like almost work with her on it.
We could definitely do that. There's a few
Yeah,
people in that same kind of position, and that would also be fun to do, like kind
yeah,
of a pitch off. Like maybe we
yeah,
do like a contest where
yeah,
people pitch us on video,
yeah. We could do that.
and then with some of the people we might bring them on or
Yeah,
choose how we kind of take
March
it from there.
Madness.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun, and we could have brackets.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that would be fun. Like almost a brand off. Like you have like the Remax bracket, the Royal LePage bracket, boutique bracket, and another one, and like those are like the four conferences coming together, and then
Huh.
each of them have like a final four. Oh, we got to talk more about this. Say we'll
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
something out. But there's an interesting like crown the best
Yeah, but you
pitcher
could do
king.
it with like a whole series of different things. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
need to be a listing presentation.
yeah,
It also could be something like what's a phrase you use to close or something like
yeah.
really sharp or specific.
You'd one I'd like to hear too is like a phone conversion. So like you put like you in one bracket, you have like Anthony Brown as a seed at the top on the other side, and get a few people like that, just at different stages,
Oh.
converting leads.
I wonder if we could make that the way that we've been doing some of the other AI phone stuff. So it's like
Yeah,
converting an AI phone lead.
yeah. That's you got to get through. There's something there. Anyways, we're
All
not
right,
gonna just
we'll talk about
brainstorm.
that. But
Yeah,
the all right, so that basically ended up with the contest. They ended up
yeah,
splitting it. It was Alex Irish and Tamara Stone.
yeah.
And honestly, I got to tell you that a lot of these people I think would have been great at the kitchen table.
Yes, like that's I think where Alex Irish had the best strength is like because she didn't have a lot of like that the sizzle of a like professional speaker. Like you could tell she was nervous. You could tell that she wasn't like necessarily comfortable in that specific situation. But like if and I think this is where there was some of that people who are like, oh, I thought this person should have made it. Instead, was like they had all that sizzle, which made like entertaining on stage. But if you're actually sitting like I'm sitting at a table talking to someone,
Mhm.
you can tell just like the words Alex was using, the experience, the wisdom that came through of like this is someone who has crushed a lot of kitchen tables and just like signed a lot of deals.
The
Like
other
if
thing is that by the time she walks into your kitchen,
yeah,
you've seen all of her signs. You've seen so many
yeah,
examples in your neighborhood. I like the way Glenda Baker says it. She says your reputation enters the room before you do,
yeah,
and that would be the same thing with Tamara Stone. Like, good
yeah.
luck.
I was saying like both of them in their markets, and that this is what also makes it tough is like, well, let's like imagine we took Andy C, right? Like
Mhm.
I think he would do a great job in a pitch battle like that.
I think that
But
we should abduct Andy C and
and
like drop him into some place like Coburg.
yeah, and just like you don't have that brand behind you. But that it's like for like even think of my marketing for like my businesses, right? Like the reason my conversion rate's really high on calls is because of the reputation I have that precedes me. I'm
Mm.
actually not a great salesperson, but because I've done all the marketing work ahead of time, I've built it up so I don't have to be a great salesperson.
Mm.
And so if you just put me in and just said, like, sell me this pen, like I know what to do. I've learned enough over the years, but like I would get killed by guys like you and Anthony in a competition like that, where I don't have that opportunity to leverage the brand and like reputation I've been building up. Because that is a big one. That's the reason I do well on conversion is
Yeah,
my work ahead of time.
I think that there's some people that are really gifted in ways that they try to take it away from that, or they
Yeah,
play the antithesis. We talk about things like if you're competing against the neighborhood
yeah,
expert, you actually look for the challenges they would face,
yeah,
and then you try to go around. But I think that there could be some ways to make this uh, more helpful almost.
yeah,
Like if you took a look at most market evaluations, it's a walkthrough,
yeah,
and then separate from the walkthrough is when people sit down. Normally, there's an evaluation
yeah,
component, and then there's the pitch.
yeah,
And so it could be a situation where you give them the walkthrough and the completed analysis.
Yeah.
And then and then it's just about that last part. I think that that's what most people are interested in.
There'd be an interesting similar idea of doing this where we took just someone like you. And so the idea came to me when you're talking there about a writing exercise. This is a Brandon Sanderson, who's a famous fiction author. And he does like every new writer, this is the exercise they should do, which is a sheriff on a horse walks through an old Midwest town. Chapter 2 is the exact same scene, except from the eyes of the baker. And then the scene, chapter 3, and eventually it's like each chapter is the exact same thing of a sheriff walking through town, just from the perspective of the different people there. So from a listener, like, what if we did one where it was like you changed the perspective of the person you're pitching. So it's like you come in and do your pitch for the family, and then round 2, it's same house, same everything, except now it's a divorce. And then the next one, it's this scenario. And it's like, how are you adjusting the pitch based on those micro changes? Like there could be an interesting one there of every other detail is the same. We're just changing. Maybe it's the reason they're moving, or it's a single person instead of a married person, a couple, or like.
Okay, I'm gonna now paint the picture.
Yeah.
It's 12:30 in the morning. It's LobbyCon.
Yeah.
But it looks like that scene from The Social Network where they're coding for shots.
Yeah.
But you're having these pitch offs in like the middle of a bar.
Yeah.
Like dueling pianos.
Yeah. And you need a film crew for this. It's gonna be a whole thing.
But it would be so fun
Yeah.
to be like to find a way to like get people to play head to head like that.
Yeah.
On like and you can really boil it down. So it's like, okay, this was the scenario you get to hear. Now and then you isolate for things and you say, now show me how you deal with it when it is a divorce.
Yeah.
Because that the hardest part is getting them to align under pressure when it's time.
Yeah. And like one, maybe it's like they have their kids with them at the appointment. Right? Like all those subtle shifts. Like I was talking to this agent, and what they do is they bring if they know the kids will be there, especially and they're young, they bring a second listing contract for the kid to sign. That like the kid agrees to keep the room clean, and they agree to like get out of the house quickly when there's a showing, and the commission on the sale of the home is they'll buy them like a video game. But like they clear it with the parents of like, what gift could I put in here? But we have them sign it.
That's something that we should probably talk about on the show, is like the ways to contribute to the kids' experience.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things there that I just feel like I'm missing. Like I should absolutely have a coloring book about moving experiences.
Yeah.
And we can make that with AI now.
Oh, yeah, it'd be super fast.
Yeah. You should make that a downloadable for like a REM.
Yeah, like the kid kit.
Yeah, but like it has a storyline.
Yeah.
And then also there's an inspection company that does like certified for no monsters.
Yep.
And that's something that is also kind of a cool idea. But where could you expand on that? You know, if you found out which rooms were the kids' rooms, like that's what we do. Yeah. And then we basically put something in each of their rooms. And normally the kids that you really want to blow the doors off are like the 6 to 10s. Yes. And then it's like the dollar store. And it's like little plastic dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Kids are simple.
Yeah. Like, so I do think that that's a big thing to unpack.
Yeah. Oh, there could be and maybe that's like a series of episodes where we dive in, like we take a house and we build out pitches over the episode for like the different people that would be selling it. And that's maybe it's like we do like an episode where it's like 4 scenarios, 15 minutes for each one, and we just talk about how that pitch would look. And then I think we should also do one or part of one to talk about, because like this is what this competition missed, is everything you have to put or should be doing before you get to the house. Because like they talked about that on stage before too, of like send the pre-listing kit, send this and this and that. And I think there is a lot of value there of like doing stuff before you get there. And like I know there was, I forget who the agent was, and I don't think it was you, but you never know. Is they send before they do the listing appointment, their stager actually goes. So then they show up with the recommendations from the stager, But they've also now what the stager does is take photos throughout the home, and now they like are able to do so much more prep work
Mm.
for their listing appointment because they almost like have intelligence on the entire home now.
Yep.
And so when they come in, it makes it a much cleaner. So like that, and what they were doing, which I thought was super clever, was they took the photos and embedded them into the listing presentation.
Wow.
Right? Like that's a next level of prep.
I have to say, one of the things I did earlier in my career that I don't do anymore, but really worked. Like I don't know
Yeah.
why I wander away from these things sometimes. I
Yeah.
just make so many changes around it, it gets lost.
Yeah. Hey, I should have done
But I
that
used to
thing that
write
worked.
like write a bit of a listing description for the house
Mhm.
before I went to the listing.
Okay.
And that was something that when I read it out, the people like to hear somebody talk about their house from like that pro level,
Yeah.
and I tried to like deliver it well.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, I would fucking buy this house."
You know, like on that same thing, right? Like I don't like single property websites as a like marketing tool. I
Mhm.
think it's a client conversion tool.
Mhm.
Is just how easy it is to spin up like a simple one page web, like build them a website for their listing. And like your listing particular is like, oh, by the way, go to like myhouse.com or something, right? Like that, like a simple domain. And be
Mhm.
like, I already got it for it. Because like, would you like that website would cost you like $10 for the domain name.
Yep.
So you could easily just do like 123 Main Street, buy the domain name, show up, be like, oh, by the way, we're just gonna pull up your house website that I've already built. And then like you can password protect it or something, but you can be like, yeah, just put in your name, it'll unlock it.
But these
And
are all good ideas, and I think that that's the idea, or that's the thing is where do you fit them? What works
yeah,
for what? And that
yeah,
might be where we find like an episode string
yeah,
is to say, how are we going to organize this? I like to do things backwards.
yeah,
So for me, I would be like, okay, let's start from possession day.
yeah.
And then we're going to obviously say, okay, for everything to have got here, this had to go
Yeah.
well.
What is the ideal here? And
Yeah.
then
And then,
backtrack.
yeah, because that was something from Steve Jobs where he said you can't actually see how a process is functioning unless you look
Yeah.
in reverse.
So one of the things, and I was thinking about this during the conference when they were actually talking about the pre-list stuff, that I think every brand should actually do, and it'd be an incredibly valuable thing for their agents, is go and get like your 15 best agents at one particular thing. So like we've talked about like doing an open house playbook as an example.
Mm.
Get like go like if you're a Remax or Royal LePage or any of these, go find the 15 best agents in your network at doing open houses really well, bring them somewhere, and actually as a group have them work together to map out the perfect open house.
Mm.
And then give that to the network as, hey, we've brought all these people together and built the perfect open house. Here's everything you need to do it.
Yep.
Like, I think that's such like an easy thing. Like, we should do that at REM. Just let's go find people that are good at everything, bring them together in one room, and we'll
Yeah.
map out the different pieces together.
Yeah, eventually that can be something that's like a convention into other things. But
Yeah,
even like when you think about making it into a calendar first,
yeah,
so that we know that open houses become popular among real estate agents as maybe we move through April.
yeah.
And so that would be like
Mhm.
the time that everybody would want it.
Yeah,
And then before then to basically find even just a handful of people that have really good metrics
yeah,
and almost do the same thing as like the post-it notes on the glass.
yeah,
uh, I really think that when we look at the pitch as the way that they had it at this specific event, it was a neat gateway to like see what's possible.
yeah,
But I think that there should be some of these that maybe we do for real, but I think we also need to find one that we do for fun.
yeah,
Like there like one-liners or something like that. There's some things that are intrinsic to people that sell things as a living,
yeah,
and that was something that really spoke to me at this conference is you meet so many people and you're like, man, it's just crazy to see so many of us at once.
yeah,
Like this entire group of people in this room, they've been in more primary bedrooms than Viagra. Like it's wild. It's
yeah,
a group of people that gets drafted into families.
yeah.
The places they go and the things they see and the consensus they have about like the average human
Yeah.
suburban experience.
Oh, the
It's
funny
so
one,
interesting.
when I went out for dinner with your brokerage the other night,
Mhm.
we did the classic real estate game of go around the table and everyone just tells the story of that time you saw someone naked on a showing.
Yes.
Because everyone, anyone who's been in business long enough has
Yeah.
seen that. Right? And I guess
That's real
enough,
funny.
everyone at the table had different things. I used to do that in Over a Pint. That was like
Mhm.
I didn't specifically always go naked. I was like, give me the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you on a showing. And like, there's some really interesting content around stuff like that. It's like a fun, lighthearted, it's an easy icebreaker at a table full of realtors.
Yeah. What has surprised you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. There's good
Um,
stuff around that.
Now, the other things that we saw around this event, like obviously you did a keynote. We also got to see some things that are just, brand level stuff.
Yeah.
But was there anything that you caught either at the conference or maybe at the after parties to the conference that you're like, this is something that's changing or new?
It's a good question. Like, I didn't think because most of like the new stuff that was at this event was more related to like the brand tools that they're rolling out, and that's hard to comment too much. So you're actually like in your hands using them. So I think most of it I didn't see a lot of. There's just more like because the people that I was hanging out with and talking to the most weren't necessarily like tech forward
Mm.
people a lot. So it was a lot of just like relationship skill was like the biggest thing on display there. Although I sat in on a thing that Matt Regan did, who's
Mm.
new to the Remax network, and he was talking about, do you know what your cost per sale is? And he dove deep into the metrics of like like he was saying it's like for him to do a sale, it costs him $2,400. When you include all their expenses, commissions, everything, every sale costs them $2,400. And
Hmm.
it's like really diving into that. I thought there should be more stuff like that of like knowing your cost per sale.
How do we put Matt and Craig together? And I
They
bet
have
you,
been.
I
Remember at a
bet,
mastermind.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's probably maybe one other person like that to
Yeah.
actually like go through the what's important
Yeah.
in the line item side, because I have to say that
Yeah.
these are the kids that we should all cheat from
Yeah.
when it comes to the math of real estate.
So Craig's here. We'll get him to commit to this now. We're gonna get you and Matt together. And we're doing like, like you ever seen that interview with Jordan or no, Kobe and Shaq where they're like knee to knee and they're just like, all right, we're talking. We're gonna throw them together and we're gonna have
Like a
Craig and
fake
Matt.
off.
Yeah. Like, all right, you guys are going deep on your numbers. How
Mm.
you get there, how you analyze it. Cause like because he was saying, which I like this concept that Matt brought up, because like this is where it all came from when he got into cost per sale too. He's like, if your real estate business was a public company, would you buy shares in it?
Ooh,
And like,
spicy.
and that was his whole thought process. And he's like, and I had to be really honest with myself. He's like, in 2016, despite having a lot of revenue, I would not have bought shares in my business.
Mm.
And he's like, so then I had to pivot how I set things up to build my business in a way that I would like people to buy shares in it. He's like, I'm not actually like having people buy shares, but that's the idea of like, if I can get it to a point where I actually think it's like how you think about things, how you structure them changes your business completely. So it's an interesting concept there so it's like, yeah, would you buy into your company if it was just a stock on the market?
That's an interesting approach because a lot of people, the way that they actually look at it is, how do I make enough to do what I want to do? That's like the gist of it, right?
Yeah.
And most agents, if you take a look at like an unmanaged arc in their career,
Yeah.
what you'll notice is that the year they got a new car, they made a bit more money. And some of the other things that they needed, like when a kid needed grip braces, man, that was a good year.
Yeah.
But that's all it is like the candle touching their ass.
Yeah. You see that little extra?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the funny thing is
Yeah.
what these guys do is they actually are able to change it in a way that you never actually experience that type of pain, but you experience a little bit more pressure to keep it going all the time.
Yeah.
But then that part where you turn it up, you can actually just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his whole, like a big part of when he was breaking down numbers too, he was like, this should be your percent that's like your expenses, but that should include your salary. So like, because he like every team, like once you get to that point where you can afford, is like you should need to put yourself on a salary.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just like your dividends that you would distribute later on down the road.
Yeah.
And that's what he was big on. Because he like the example he used would be like if your team doing 3 million a year, it's like if you had 10% net profit at the end, that is only actually like, and he wasn't saying 10% was good enough. It was just for easy math, is what he was doing it for. Is like that should come after you've paid yourself a salary.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people just include everything that it's just like their hard expenses, not that way, not their salary and their
Mhm.
expenses. And like that's what you got to put in. It's like you're doing the job, you're working it, like you deserve a salary.
Yeah, that's and it gets really slippery, but I like how there's some people among us that do this stuff at a really advanced level,
Yeah.
but I really value the people that can boil it down.
Mhm.
Like for me, when it comes to those things, I actually follow Mike Michalak's, and he wrote the book Profit First.
Yeah, good book. Yeah.
And so the idea is just understanding a little bit about how the splits work.
Yeah.
So you have to put money into your income,
Yeah.
or what they would call the owner's income, and then tax.
Yeah.
And his thoughts on tax are actually quite interesting, where he's just like, listen, you don't need to figure this out as like business tax or your personal tax. As the owner of this company, just make sure that there's tax and calculate it and put it here.
Yeah.
And then working down to the operating expense. And that's where tracking really, that's normally the real shocker, is where people are like, oh, I'm spending more than I'm making.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, money in isn't always the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then the last one is, or what he calls the first one is profit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's like, I mean, to oversimplify Profit First, if you haven't read it, the idea is before you pay for anything, or like as the first bit of money comes in, you just pick your profit amount that you want. So let's say 10% again for easy numbers.
Or start with 1% if
Yeah.
you're working your way up.
Yeah, but so take 1% of your pay, say that's your profit, you put it into another account that you actually don't touch, and then you run your business on what's left.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just, in theory, keep in choose that. Like the other good one for that has a similar system. Ryan Dice has one. He calls it like the waterfall accounting, but it's like you have your operating account, you have your tax account, and it's basically, and then like I forget all three of them, but then one's like your emergency savings account, which his idea is like every business should have 3 months of operating expenses just saved somewhere, just in case. But no matter what, for 3 months you'll be able to come back. And then you have another account, like what's left after you've saved that waterfalls into the next account, which I believe was like this just becomes like your future investment account. And then after like 50% of the money that went into there then gets put into your dividend account.
Mm.
But it's like you have to start, I forget the five. He has a YouTube video on it, but it basically walks through how the money waterfalls down. And it just sets you up really nicely, and it's simple.
See, for me, when we're thinking about like this on a calendar, that's like November type content.
Yeah.
Because as people go into business planning, a lot of them are thinking,
Yeah.
man, I need to change things. Like I remember when my market was moving down, that was a big thing, is to all of a sudden everybody knew the difference between variable and fixed expenses.
Yeah.
Right. But before that, like there was no discussion of that at all.
Yeah. Part of the fun. We only have a few minutes left here, by the way, because we are cutting early because we got to get to the airport. So if anyone has questions.
So the chat there confirms that's Craig's commitment.
Yeah.
Craig no matter where or when, he's there to talk numbers.
He's in. So we're gonna have Craig and Matt, because Matt said I put Matt's listing in our magazine for this event. So he's like, anything you need, I'll do it. So we're also committing you, Matt. You don't even know it yet. We'll have them on and do something numbers related.
Yeah, so that we're almost at time of year for that. So that should be something that we put on deck.
Yeah.
And then also starting to break down a couple of things that will be the same idea, is maybe over the winter, like those things that we have to plan way further in advance, or like the bigger changes.
Yeah.
And then as we move into the spring, we can get more tactical and practical, maybe with some script folks, so everybody can sharpen their skills going into the season.
Yeah. I'm curious if you would actually be interested in this, and for people in the chat here as well. I'm looking down here, like you can't tell, this is where our chat is. Would there be interest in, whether it's you and people here in the audience, like not on leadership, we just said with separate Zoom, and you help us plan out REM's content like that for the year? Like when would things be helpful to you? And then like, because like we're always gonna have like breaking news, that style of news that's just throughout the year, but then like evergreen content we can do anytime.
Totally.
So it'd be like, when would be the most valuable time, and then we can backtrack our work from there.
Yep.
There could be an interesting one of like, what's the most valuable way to do that? Just get like smart people on a Zoom and chat it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is we're going to eventually have to start talking about getting everybody together.
Yeah,
And so maybe you should kickstart a conference.
should at some point. We're gonna do that, and so I think prices for conferences are gonna start coming down soon.
Yeah, but the other side of it would be is that gauge of interest where you can
Yeah,
show your interest with a financial commitment
yeah. Oh, no,
and
until
possibly
nothing
get
matters until there's money on
yeah,
the table.
but then you might be
Yeah,
surprised at how many people would be interested.
yeah. Just throw something out.
Yeah.
Because like I think now I'm in a better position to do one than just homes because like just homes is harder to like pitch sponsors when it's like you're a vendor already.
Yep.
REM, it's a lot easier to
Hmm.
do that. So like I there is plans to bring events. I just don't have a timeline yet.
Yeah. Well, this was definitely
Yeah.
a good location for an event.
Yeah.
Everybody had fun out here. I like
So
that.
one of my favorite things with events, so this is why I used to do it in Blue Mountain, is and this is why I actually don't like Toronto as an event place, is at night you want it to be somewhere where most people are staying in one controlled area. So like Blue Mountain, it's great because everyone stays in like the village. Banff's great because everyone kind of stays there. Whistler, everyone stays in the village. And so then when you go out at night, you're bumping into everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas Toronto, people scatter because there's so many places to go. So many people go home. And so like what I find with Toronto events is the like community side, which is the most important part of events to me. That doesn't happen the same way. So it's like this is where like Niagara Falls isn't bad for an event. I think this is one of the problems with like a Vegas event is there's just so many bars, so many places to go that you're not running into people the same way. And I think that's really important.
And they plan for it differently.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. And you might want to stick to that. And then the other thing is something that's like an all-in ticket.
Yeah.
You know, I think that Follow Up Boss did really well with that.
So how did that one work?
Basically, like everything that you needed, like your hotel and everything, was just like in the ticket price. But then they got to charge an amount that allowed them to deliver an experience. So it was like one of the first conferences where there was like a good lunch.
Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, and for something in Banff, like you could set it up so that when people land in Calgary, they're shuttled to Banff in a way that's like good.
I did an event like in London, England one time. I was an attendee of it. There was an event that was like a $10,000 ticket. And you got like black car service picked up at the airport, brought to your hotel. And there was like a pre-event survey of like get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was just like, what's your favorite? Like if you could only eat one treat the rest of your life, what would that treat be? And no matter what it was, they went out and found it and had it sitting at your table when you got there. And they said like what was actually because he did break down a little bit because people asked him questions about it. Is like most of the time it's not bad. And it's you'd go to like the pharmacy or like a shop drug mart type of place. But sometimes people like say something from their childhood, but they didn't grow up in North America, right? So he's like, there was someone
who, like, original stroopwafel.
Yeah, no, they said the craziest one that someone did is it was like a treat that you can like only get in Thailand.
Oh,
and it ended up like they're like we got lucky on that one, and that was one of the first people who signed up for that event, and they had like 8 weeks, and basically they ended up finding like a specialty store that like a flight away, and they ended up paying them that store extra to ship a box to them. And then they had that waiting on them. But it's just like that.
What an incredible win, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what
like when you have to go deep. And also for everybody else there, they would see that one that experience.
Yeah. And like neat. They tried things like one that I liked that they tried, but in practice didn't work well. But it was the right idea is so it was a room of like 20 people. Like think of the mastermind that we did that Craig was at, the Matt was at. They put a masseuse in the back.
Oh.
So at any point during the event, you just go to the back. It was one of those ones where like you lean forward on the chair, you're not laying down.
Yeah.
And they just give you a back massage. Which in practice, you're like, that's great. I love a massage. But in practice, what happens is it takes you out of the conversation and the learning for 5 to 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah, and everybody's waiting for it. And like, yeah.
So it it's like everyone kind of did it once, and then no one went back, except for on breaks. But then everyone wanted at breaks. So it was again right idea, but when it takes you out of the event, it's wrong execution. So it's finding that.
We definitely wandered all over the friggin' place, and it was fun. So this is kind of conference version of us and what we talk about like a lot of the time, whether or not we have company. I think we did a fair amount of this at lunch.
Yeah,
but
pretty much. Hey, Ryan.
We really appreciate everybody that was able to connect with us today,
Yeah.
and also just getting to do a live podcast.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we are actually having this experience now. I think that next time we should have not only a dedicated time, but we might actually have to do more episodes and plan who's going to be here.
Yeah,
and do
like
some live episodes
we talked
when we
briefly.
get together.
I think the next event we're both at, let's like book a space and tell everyone where it's going to be, and they can come.
Yeah,
We'll just do it live.
yeah. This starts to sound a lot more like a REM event.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we have to get to the airport because we don't want to miss our flights.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. And next time after show, not so much this time. We'll talk soon.
Cheers,
Cheers.
guys.